So I had just copied this from internet. This is the English version of Ekla Cholo by Rabindranath Tagore. And I thought it'll be nice if we can just kind of in our personal individual lives, how it resonates or speaks to us, if we can talk about that.
Yeah. Monica, when I went through these lines, I think you posted in the afternoon, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very beautiful, resonating a lot right now. Matlab, I'm going to tell you I'm just going to tell you in cracks what I got, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
I think here Tagore is encouraging us to walk on the path of our own inner truth. He says that we should have the courage and determination to walk on our own path, even when no one is with us. And now he's talking of the path of truth, the path that leads to finding of our own self, and finally, which leads to the divine. And he says that one has to be fiercely fearless. And in such circumstances, people often leave you, you know. And this path is full of difficulties because here he says, unpredictable path, unknown path for us, then with thorn pricked, bloodied feet. What he means is that the path is not easy, it's full of difficulties, and we get wounded. I mean, this fight is with our own tendencies, patterns, ego, and above all, ego. And in this fight, we become wounded, you know. And when we become aware and know which path is right, then it calls for a lot of courage to walk on that path. And here, you know, because you have to fight so much against it, that we get wounded. And in the end, he says that this path is full of darkness, because I think our own patterns, behavior, tendencies, ego cloud our awareness of what is right. And when a person starts this journey, it is full of darkness. But if we have a strong desire of progressing, and we have that strong, that burning fire of aspiration, this illuminates our own path. And then even if we are alone, we are at peace. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Swapna, would you like to share your reflections on these lines?
I agree with the speaker that was just before me. She echoed a lot of what I was feeling as well. And what I noticed here, there, like he's not referring to the mother or the divine, you know, as hasn't been named. There's a lot of then walk alone. We that have faith then know that we're not walking alone. But it's interesting, I just noticed that in this moment, you know, that as I read it, I took it for me to mean with walk alone with the divine. Yet it's not being referred that way, but yet there's a lot of sacredness to how one is being referred to. I feel there is that honoring. And somehow there is an acknowledgement to the ability to do this with the divinity or the deeper strength within. That's somehow inherent in these words, I feel, but it's interesting that it's not been overtly named.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Yes. So, Snehi, we were just sharing our reflections on this song, very famous song by Rabindranath Tagore, Ekla Chalo. So this is the English interpretation or translation by himself, by Tagore himself. So if you go through the lines and if you have anything to share, please go forward and share, unmute and share what it means to you. Hmm? I feel that as we were sharing in earlier sessions also, that it seems like we abandon ourselves from time to time. Being used to particular relationships in life, and when obviously, because the nature of life is fleeting, things change. So people are there in our life, and then people are not there, their priorities change or something else happens. So it's kind of fleeting. But there is one thing which never leaves you, which is you yourself. Yeah. But it seems that we are not there for ourselves. I've been talking about this, I think, in many many sessions, and also Snehi, Swapna personally, that we must be our bestest companion in absence of any other companion or not. People may come and go, will come and go, but am I there for myself? Once I have chosen the right path for me, which is the path within, a deepening of your own being, and which is interconnected with the divine, as you were already sharing. It's one with the divine. We are not separate from the divine. But when I am not standing with my own self, then is the time when I feel highly insecure, or feeling like everything is breaking, shattering away, no one is there for me. But we realize that I am not there for me. Am I there for me in this thin or thick of a period? I am feeling anxious, I may be sad, I may be going through sorrow, but am I standing next to me? And usually we see that we just abandon ourselves. So this journey of being alone, we often are afraid of being lonely. What if I am left alone? I think it's good that we come face to face with this in the very beginning itself, that yes, this is a journey of being alone. People will come, take them as a gift. People will go, take that as a gift. But do not leave your side once you have chosen a path for yourself. And then nothing can stop us. So if I am going through a tough period, I am with myself. I'm not abandoning myself. If I'm going through a high period, I'm with myself. I'm not just going up in the air and losing the sense of ground. So always remaining next to yourself as your bestest companion, because this companion will not leave me. Others may come and go, but this will not leave me. As long as I am there, I am there. So this is the surety and safety which we actually seek in our relationships, external in the world, either the relationship with people, material things, houses, or other stuff which may be fleeting. They may come and go, but I am not going to come and go. I am going to be here as long as I am here. So can I be with myself as long as I'm going to be there? So it seems like also learning a lot from words of masters and mystics. It seems like it is a path of being all by yourself and not leaving yourself, not abandoning yourself midway. कि अगर किसी ने छोड़ दिया तो तुमने भी छोड़ दिया अपने आप को. तुमने क्यों छोड़ा? Why were you not next to yourself? And then he says that, as Gurpreet ji was sharing in the beginning, that everyone walks away and no one looks back towards the unpredictable path. This journey is uncharted. The journey through shedding off the ego and coming back to your true self, it's an uncharted path. Yeah, yes, Swapna, please share.
I was just realizing that so often, without realizing it, even if I say there was somebody I relied on, say a partner or a best friend, then I realized that the nature of desire is such that, say that person has been able to meet something in me, a companionship, a support, but then my requirements change. The nature of ego mind, right? It's like, no, now you need to also play this role, or you need to exactly understand what I need in this other situation. And it becomes impossible. The ego lays out a set of requirements. First of all, the divine doesn't want something on the outside to meet those needs. Secondly, I'm seeing how ridiculous it is, because the other person can no way track every single little movement in myself and desire and need, and which crutch I need when, which word of support, which touch of affection, you know? And then I realized, like, oh, the only one that even has the tiniest hopes of meeting all that is me. But even I can't sometimes track myself because it changes so much, right? And depends which level of my being I'm coming at. And therefore, I'm forced to abdicate to the divine, because I can't ultimately even, like, I can just be with me. And maybe it's different from having to be there to meet all my every needs, or every single need of mine, because it doesn't work like that. Even I can't do that. It can only be left to my maker or to the mother, it seems.
Totally. Yes. Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. It's like we cannot take life or the things that come to us in life as a prasad, somehow owing to that beggar tendency within us. Whatever comes, it came to us without asking. We did not ask for it, it just came to us, it was given to us. But then the nature of that beggar tendency within us, or the ego tendency, is that it will just demand and demand and demand. So somehow we cannot take it as a prasad, as a gift ki, I'm just glad to have this being in my life, that is enough. Then we, as you were sharing, then we have demands from that person which we ourselves cannot fulfill. So what a big burden to put on anyone. And it's good that people run away then from us, because uh, nobody likes to be in burden. No one likes to be burdensome. So I think that's something worthy of respect, that the other person is not wanting to carry the burden anymore. And then we realize that it's only I that is there. I have to be next to myself, walking on this path. People will come and go, may understand, may not understand, no matter how close they may be. And we see that even from our closest ones, we have the biggest hopelessnesses coming, especially from our closest ones. As you were saying ki, where you had the least of the hope that yahan pe baat ban jayegi, wahan bhi nahi banti. Why? Because that is not bound to happen in human life. That is not the purpose of human existence. Somehow it is always portrayed everywhere that this is how it is. And we get so heavily affected by that portrayal that it almost clouds our vision. And slowly, owing to the slaps of life, or rejections, or all the happenings, we are lucky if we get to the point that, okay, I am the only one, there is no one who is there, and I is equivalent with the divine is also there along with when I say I. Yeah. And the second last line is also very beautiful, where he says, uh, if the dark night brings thunder and storm at the door, then let the lightning ignite the light in you, alone to shine on the path. So one need not be afraid of those dark challenges. One needs to stand by oneself in the dark challenges. That is our challenge, not to abandon ourselves. And then let the darkness itself, let the storm itself, let the lightning ignite the light in you, alone to shine on the path. This is what we fear. How can I be alone? How can I all be with myself? But that is the only purpose. So the purpose is defeated if I'm not being able to be with myself. So Unniji, we were just sharing our reflections on this song by Rabindranath Tagore. uh, it's his own translation in English. If you have anything to share, please unmute and share.
Sorry for joining late. I was not quite sure. Last 2-3 times I missed. So I'm in the middle of something. So I'm just listening for some time. Then maybe I
Yeah,
can
sure.
add something.
To just to let you know, I think you're aware that we alternate with Kabir and Tagore every Monday. So last Monday it was Kabir, and this Monday it's Tagore's words that we are reflecting upon.
Yeah, sure. I know about that. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
Monica just had a thought.
Yes, please.
As long as we keep having that tendency of begging from people, expecting, desiring, and all of that, I should have this or he should have done that and all of that stuff, you feel very weak and powerless, surprisingly. Although we have people around us, we feel we are so weak, we feel very helpless. But the walk towards the truth, surprisingly, it's all alone, but it is very empowering. You feel very empowered because I think it operates from the right place, from the truth, your truth. So that is so surprising that people around me make me feel so weak, but when you're all alone operating from the right place, your strength, it is very, very, I mean, it's full of strength. You are full of strength. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I think that is our signal, almost as if the universe has left us with some signals, you know, that if you are on the right path, you'll feel empowered. And if you choose a wrong, choose the path of the ego, or, those places where we give our power away, there we naturally fall into this darkness or a weakness, feeling weak. So that's really beautiful if we can use these signals to choose or arrive at the, or align ourselves with the truth of the being, if these signals can be heard of. Yeah, that's really beautiful. It is a signal that we were talking earlier about fear or feeling anxious, being, being a victim of panic all around and all that. And it's amazing to see that fear and anxiety, they don't make us feel empowered. All these unpleasant sensations are there for a reason. They don't make us feel empowered. And according to the mother, mother says, if you even sense a ripple of a fear, you have to just reject it immediately. If you are capable of doing that, involve yourself, absorb yourself as something which is beautiful, which is elevating in spirits, because it is not to be entertained at all. So if we can sense these movements in our being, what is weakening me, what is empowering me, and hence align ourselves to the right path, I think that really would be so beautiful, if we are able to read those movements within the being. That would be really very nice. Yeah.
I also noticed something that seems interesting, that, there's a if, like every sentence has a if. And so it's saying to me, like, if no one speaks, if everyone walks away, if no one heeds your calls, but there's the possibility of, like the prasad thing you speak about, Monica, like there is a chance that, okay, if no one is responding to my call, then maybe someone is speaking. I could look for that. If someone's not even speaking to me, then is someone turned towards me? But if they haven't turned away, like there's these different ways maybe that support could be given in a circumstance, if it even exists, just to perhaps also make me look at, okay, it's not maybe from the source I think it should be coming, but the divine could be speaking through a different source. And then at the end, all that we're saying, that really, if after all that, one finds really there's nothing or nobody, then, and then the other piece about how, when we were talking about how disempowering it is when one does rely on something outside, is that if that's just it, that's the key, isn't it? If one isn't seeing it as prasad or seeing it as a bonus, but seeing it as something I absolutely need, then that dependency is what's so disempowering, as my good Pete was was saying, or if I catch, that's what I'm doing. You know, maybe that's it. That's the other signal, right? As soon as I feel disempowered, I feel weak. Oh, I've become dependent on it rather than just seeing it that way, as well as, oh, do I want my independent sense of freedom, my sense of self in the end? Do I want it to be something that is so dependent on an external circumstance, right? Like that, for me, it's a baby step to getting to the point of always just being with myself, or as I'm learning to better be with myself. Yeah, I think that's it.
That's beautiful. Yes, completely with you. Yes, Swapna. Yes. So it's not that people won't be there. It's not that we just have to walk alone. It's not like that. People may or may not be there. So when they are there, as you were sharing, just take it as a gift, prasad, walk along for some time, as long as you walk together. But then, as you were sharing, do not make it into your dependency, that agar if mere sath koi nahi chal raha, to main chal hi nahi paungi, I will shatter to pieces. That should not be there. So you at least be with yourself. Be your bestest friend, bestest companion. Yeah, completely. Yes.
Monica, why does he use this phrase, oh, unlucky one? If everyone walks up away, oh, we are lucky. In fact, people should be lucky that way, right?
What do you think, Gurpreet ji?
So
Why,
I couldn't.
why would he unlucky one?
I was just wondering. I was wondering whether I should be asking this also or not, but I really couldn't
I think it's
understand.
a beautiful observation. You share your reflections, then I can share my own. Think about
Okay, let me think about
it.
it.
Yeah.
Please.
May I offer a thought while my colleague thinks about it?
Yes, please, Swapna. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. I was saying, the O is the part that I feel honored by, and the unlucky one is just helping me connect to, oh, because the ego vital might be feeling unlucky, just so that it's like almost a way to connect in, but by having the O unlucky one, it somehow is referring to something deeper, like a laser or a sword piercing through to what's behind, to remind me, like, okay, you think you're unlucky, or you're just feeling or identifying as unlucky, but oh, spirit, or oh, seer, or oh, seeker, like that could be a synonym for unlucky one in this case. It's not brought into the drama, or it's not brought into a judgment that one is really unlucky, but it's just choosing almost poetically to use that. Anyway, that's where my mind's going.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else?
I think, Monica, I feel generally speaking, in the world, when we are left alone, someone is not talking to us, we feel we are the unlucky one, right? So maybe it's coming from there. You feel you are an unlucky one. I think it's somewhere from there. I'm not very sure. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So I think Swapna was sharing this vital, the thing of the vital is that socially, if we look how we raise ourselves, we see that we would say, अरे अकेले जा रही है क्या? किसी को ले जा, मैं चलती हूँ साथ. So being alone is not really considered auspicious if we look at our social upbringing. The ordinary human consciousness does not want to be alone. Saints and masters have walked their path alone. Yeah, but ordinary human consciousness does not want to be alone, owing to the fact that it is governed by the vital, the emotions, the dependencies on each other. Completely with you, both of you, as you were sharing. So it's me that I would consider myself, oh my God, I'm so unlucky. There is no one who wants to walk with me. So I think that's where it may be coming from, that I consider myself unlucky owing to the fact that I only crave for company all the time. I cannot handle being with myself, as if I hate myself almost, this, we cannot handle our company. So that's where I think, I also think that it may be coming from that place, that we consider ourselves lucky when we are all by ourselves, just owing to the fact that we are not conditioned or raised in a manner where aloneness is sacred, where aloneness is something which is auspicious. We consider aloneness as something, oh, poor unlucky fellow, he's been left alone, just like that. That is how we see it. Yeah. There is one Kabir couplet which I got reminded of on this. He says, सिंघन के नहीं लेहड़े, नहीं लालन की नहीं बोरियां, हंसन के नहीं पात, सिंघन के नहीं लेहड़े और साधु न चले जमात. So he says that the treasures, lalan, treasures do not come in a bag. The precious stones do not come in a bag full, a sack full. They come one or two, one and two, one and two. So lalan ki nahi boriyan, hansan ke nahi paat. Swans do not go in a flock. One swan, two swans, that is all you can find. Singhan ke nahi lehade. Singh means lion. They don't go all the time roaming about in a flock or a herd. They are always found single, one in a forest, two in a forest, like that. And hence, a sadhak on his path, on this spiritual path, journey towards our own self, sadhu na chale jamaat. What society, the path that society would be following, a sadhak won't be following that herd mentality. He would have his own individual life. He would have his own alone life. And Mother and Sri Aurobindo also have talked a lot about this auspiciousness of being all by yourself, being content with yourself, and then taking everything, all the relations or whatever, that we enjoy in day-to-day life as a gift from the divine and nothing more. Not making ourselves dependent on that vitally and mentally. Yeah. So anything else at this, or shall I go forward into the next one? And the second line also, where he says, if no one speaks to you, don't think you are unfortunate, because that is how we are raised. When you have to punish someone, what do? Okay, I'm not talking to you. This is our punishment. Like children, when they get moody with each other, in schools or wherever they are playing, what do they say? I will not be talking to you. So that is your punishment. That is how we see it as we are raised. That not talking is my punishment. Because we depend vitally on this talking with each other, because we want to belong and we don't want to be left alone. So it's all, I think, coming from how we are raised in a community as an individual, that this is considered unauspicious, that if no one is speaking to you, you are unfortunate one. And that is how then he is referring to us, that don't think that you are unfortunate, because people will tell you that you are unfortunate. So mind you, don't buy into people saying that. You are very okay. You can be okay with yourself. Yeah.
Monica, that's something else I'm noticing. I mean, literally in the last 24 hours. Or I guess it's been growing a little bit in the last week. But in my family, if I think in my immediate family of my parents and my sibling, I have a couple of them that have told me for a long, long, long time, that actually things can resolve themselves in silence. And then, we were talking about it also like yesterday, of how the mother speaks about things being resolved in the silence. And then I'm just noticing that despite even having the message being given to me, whether it was mother's quote or those family members that also believe in the mother, or just themselves saying, look, we have more experience on, say, a relationship front, we're elder than you. Sometimes it's best just to wait and see, right? And it's only like, I guess I must be ready for it, or left with such an hopelessness, or no option other than to stay quiet and notice what you just said, that actually the other one staying quiet is facilitating something that's better for both of us than all these decades of thinking talking to a solution is the best way, or expressing and communicating ourselves openly is the best way. It like really throws that on its head.
Yes, with you, Swapna. Also what happens when we allow ourselves to quieten down without the exchange of much emotions here and there. I feel, and please share what you uh, might have experienced, I feel that it takes me to my depths. Mother in her prayers and meditations, she shares that on the surface there may be non-calm and non-peace and all the garbage floating, but irrespective of that garbage floating on the surface, if I go deeper down in the depths, there is calm, there is quiet. So I can access that quiet irrespective of the surface clutter being there. I do not have to depend on the clutter being resolved and only then I would achieve calm in my being. And somehow all that we are needing in our day to day life is a contentment. We have discussed it earlier that all that I've crux of the matter is that why do I want that job and that money? So that I can be happy and content. The crux always is that why do I want that relationship back? Because so that I can be contented and happy. Yeah. So can I be contented and happy without the resolution of thoughts? Is that my possibility? And it appears to us that in quiet, in calm and stillness, when we go deeper into our own self, go deeper and deeper, use the intensity of pain and suffering to dig deeper in our being, we have access to calm and poise, irrespective of the dots not connecting in the external world. I think that connects us with a very strong power. And this is again very empowering, as Gurpreet ji was sharing in the beginning. This, on the surface, clutter is disempowering. When I see cluttered and unresolved dots, it's very disempowering. But when I go deeper within the being, I see, oh my God, the contentment and peace is available 24/7. So why am I torturing myself? Why am I depending on the resolution of dots so that I can have contentment and peace? So that again connects us with a deeper power. Now, this is what we, Mother, I think, calls as divine strength, which is available 24/7.
May I add a small thought?
Yes, please. Yeah.
I was looking at this, the last stanza, not the last line, the one before that. If the dark night brings thunder and storm, that line. Now, to me, it looks that this is pointing to the possibility of a negative being seen as a positive, because instead of being scared of the light, of the lightning, if you see it as the light that illuminates the path, and to help you to see the light outside or the place outside and also the light within. So that part of it is actually, if you expand it a little bit, I see it as as an indication or as a guidance that what you see around you, while it may look negative, fearful, threatening, it is also possible to see it as something positive which can be used to help myself.
That's really beautiful, Uniji. Yes, very true. Very true. I'm totally with you. Yeah, totally. I think that is the reference to, again, referring to Mother and Sri Aurobindo. When Mother talks about using pain and suffering in life as a dagger to go within and unite with the deeper light present in each one of us, otherwise we don't have in day to day life, when things are okay, we don't have that kind of intensity to go in search of what is my truth. We don't care for truth then. But when things are becoming so negative, as you were sharing, then that negativity actually works like a dagger which takes us deeper within to the widening and expansion of the being. Otherwise we don't care in day to day life, we don't care much about uniting with the truth or taking care of what is my truth. Who cares? Everything is fine, who cares? So yes, this is an absolute worthwhile possibility. Yeah. And it's also saying, the second line after this says, then let the lightning. So it's my allowance almost. I have to say, yes, I allow you. Sri Aurobindo says there is free will in surrender. Surrender is not, it does not come like that. You have to call that, okay, I am ready for surrender. Okay, I am ready. I am ready. Each moment a call and aspiration has to be there, because it's a free surrender. So here in the second line, he says that then let the lightning ignite the light in you. So if I am not ready to let the lightning ignite the light in me, it won't be able to do the chiseling and shaping of the being. So I have to allow, I have to become porous and receptive, almost bow down on my knees and say, okay, do the work that you are here to do. Usually, the day-to-day life, how we live is we keep on, as if we have a wall. We do not allow the life happenings to chisel us and shape us. But here we are allowing the lightning to ignite that light, because it is there for a purpose. So that allowance has to come from me. And somehow I feel we are also very afraid of our own power, because most of the time we are thinking, oh my god, what a little limited fellow I am, how unworthy, how utterly useless. We actually entertain these kind of thoughts, and we at the same time somewhere we also know that if we truly unite with ourselves or go deeper within, the power that we have, it's actually unimaginable power. I somehow feel that we are afraid of being so powerful. It says, letting the lightning ignite the light in you alone to shine on the path. Now, am I ready for that? Am I ready for that? Oh my God, a part of me may say, no, I'm not ready for that. So let me be little, let me be limited. Because who wants to shine? I don't want to shine. What will people? So all the ordinary mind also comes into picture. That we ourselves are stopping as if to have that power that lies within each one of us.
Monica,
Yes, please go ahead, Swapna.
I was thinking of that passage, that perhaps we're all familiar with, that it's actually a Marianne Williamson quote, but Nelson Mandela used it. About the first line of it goes, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. And it goes on like that, it's such a beautiful passage. Maybe I can take a screenshot and send it.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Yeah, Swapna, with you. Yes. Actually, I think along with the power coming into picture, we also have the doubts and confusions that kind of clutter us, that what would happen to all this structure that I have around myself. So if I reclaim my kingdom back, if I reclaim my power back, what would happen to this structure that I have created over the years around myself? And somehow, in the name of the structure, I am ready to sacrifice my own power, just because the structure should not get altered at all. That is our, I would say, that's a stupidity. Because if the power is there, if the kingdom has been reclaimed, obviously rest everything will be rearranged according to their own alignment, as they go ahead. But somehow I think it only comes with our own walking on the path, that we slowly have that faith and the courage that yes, things will be taken care of. I don't have to let go of my reclaiming my power in a fear of disturbing people and lives, who are settled around me. That also, I think, as we go along this path, the faith also grows more and more, in that sense, that everything will be taken care of much better than it is right now. So is there anything from this, anyone, any further reflection? I have another one which I can share. Anything more from this? Okay. So then, in absence of anything more, I'll share something from Gitanjali. There is a verse that I picked up for today. This is verse 96. And towards the latter half of Gitanjali, he has reflected on death, reflected on parting from this material world. And I was going through those passages, and I felt really inspired by the way to look at death. The way he's looking at death is not at all a very sad and sorrowful way, the way we usually look at death. It's a beautiful way that he looks at it. So let's go through it a little, if possible. Yeah, anyone, whenever ready, please share whatever comes to you at this.
Monica, I see like what seems paramount, or like that's something that's in every sentence. It's this homage to the experience during life of the touch of the divine, and the readiness at every moment to leave this bodily life if it is the end. And let this be my parting word in not forgetting, in always remembering to say, and I'm going to put my attention till the very last on what I have seen that is unsurpassable, or the hidden honey of this lotus. And that last line, especially, my whole body and my limbs have thrilled with this touch, who is beyond touch. So it also echoes for those that are called to Mother and Sri Aurobindo's yoga, the yoga of the cells. And somehow, again, this acknowledgement of it, the speaking to of it, and the readiness to leave when it's time, because he's been the instrument.
Yes, beautiful, Swapna. Anyone else? It seems to me like uh, as if, it seems like as ordinary human beings, uh, we live a half life. Half life is lived, and hence we are afraid of death. We know very well that we have not really lived as we were supposed to live as a human being, the purpose that was there ascribed for me. And hence I am afraid of death. It seems here, in his writings, when he, in the latter part, he writes about death in every second verse, it seems that he's very, very ready for the journey ahead. In fact, in one of the verses, he says that with an expectant heart to meet my Lord. So, as a human being, he has served the instrument of that Lord. And now he is not in any regret or a sorrow that, oh my God, my life is going to end. But the way we live, we somewhere know that it's not the best or our highest possibility. And hence, when death comes or threatens me from all around, I am kind of, I say, oh my God, I want to live a little bit more. I want to live a little bit more. Because somewhere we haven't lived up to the fullest or our highest possibilities in the lifetime that was ascribed to me, in the day-to-day moments. And a part of me knows that very, very clearly, that I have not yet lived up to my highest possibilities. There was something more that was possible. There was something more that was possible. So I think that is where he can be now, at a very kind of an easy place, that I see that my time is up. It's very, very close. And I'm actually looking forward and being thankful for tasting this duality in this world. The tongue can have the taste of jalebi only because the tongue is separate from the jalebi. So this taste of duality, he tasted like a gift from the divine, like a prasad from the divine. And owing to the fact that we are not able to do that as an ordinary consciousness, only when we grow as human beings can we take life or these kind of things as a gift. Then I say that, okay, this was some beauty which I have seen. which I would not have seen in a non-dual state. So that is one thing also that I could see here, that he has tasted well, he has used the instrument as well to his capacities as he could. So now there is no regret of leaving the body. Now there is no sadness. In fact, there is a, he says, I was just going through this, that he says in verse number 94, that I start on my journey with empty hands and expectant heart, so that I'm going to kind of, reunite with the Lord, whom I have served in this life. So that is also one thing that resonated with me very deeply. That, yeah,
Monica,
yeah,
I was just trying to connect it with that fear thing, which is so very much we can see, around. And of course, I've been talking about it a lot. And I feel, after reading these lines, I mean, these are very, very inspiring, because for me, I can see that, living in that limited self, I think right now that's what is coming into my mind, that I think fear generates from there, my limited self, not expanding, you know and when I think it becomes very, very natural for the being, as Tagore is saying, how if one experiences and witnesses life in the real sense, walking on that path of truth, always this word comes into my mind, inner truth, inner self, which is ultimately divine, walking on that path, you become so fearless. You become so fearless. And I mean, death is nothing in front of that. I mean, that is the real fearlessness we all seek, actually. And I think it is very, I mean, a very, very good thing for me, which is coming out of this verse, a very good answer to what I have been seeking since long, I mean, when you expand, your limited self, in that expansion is your true liberation, I feel, so this is what comes out of this. And that is why he's saying that he's so ready to even leave, that readiness. Yeah. That is why, because we are so limited, we fear death, because we are in a very, very narrow shell, I think. Yeah.
beautiful. Yes, Gurpreet. Yes, beautiful. Mother Shri Aurobindo say again and again, Mother is saying, go, find your own self, find your truth, go in search of who you truly are. And we just go about doing everything else in life, but not that. And that is just the beginning of a beautiful life, where not being afraid of the mortal body going away, I know I have united with who I truly am, and hence there is no fear. Hence now whatever comes in life, I will be able to do it in much, much more beautiful way, rather than working out of my insecurities of losing life, or being threatened, or full of fear, anxiety and panic. So I think this is a worthy aim. When Mother talks about an aimless life is a miserable life, Mother says that on the quality of your aim will depend the quality of your life. I think this is a very worthy aim that we, even masters have pointed to us. Go find yourself, who you truly are, because if we do not go in search of that, we will be living a fearful life, knowing ourselves as the body, as the limited person that I am. So it's very important, it's almost urgent for each one of us to actually get a practical hang of who I truly am, and hence live a life from that space, fearlessly, limitlessly. Yeah.
Can I add a couple of things?
Yeah, please.
When I read through this, I'm reminded of this, I'm sure you heard of this Mahamrityunjaya mantra, where it says, Uruvaruga Mehabantanath. That means a fruit which is ripens, which allow itself to be ripened and ready to fall off when it is fully ripe. So that is the imagery that comes to my mind when I read through these lines, because the person who writes this as, I mean, this particularly is Tagore, but generally speaking, a person should allow himself to absorb and be himself in the universe as he is supposed to be. And then he ripens. And when that happens, there's no death. There is only a change of face. And therefore, there is no fear. There is only acceptance. That's the imagery that comes to my mind when I read this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's beautiful, Uniji. Yeah. It's beautiful, the third line. In this playhouse of infinite forms, I have had my play, and here I have caught sight of him that is formless. So he's done his job, kinds, that jisko dhoondna tha, as if this was a play of hide and seek, and I had to find the formless in the form, and I have done my job, and I have lived as knowing that there is a formless hiding behind all the forms. So only then can it become a play, what we call in Hindi as Leela. Otherwise, it remains a Maya. Knowing myself as the body and fearing all the time, being anxious all the time, it remains a Maya for me. But when knowing, or at least catching a sight of the formless in our own unique ways, and living a life from that space, then it becomes a play. And then, as Unniji was sharing, then there is no death for that fellow who has tasted that. Hmm? Yeah. I think this brings delight in the being. The first line he says, "What I have seen is unsurpassable." This is the, when Mother Shri Aurobindo say that the delight or ananda is the basis of existence. So when I am able to go through my darkness and challenges and miseries and find the light hiding behind all those in disguise, this, he says that what I have seen is unsurpassable, formless hiding behind the form. This was the play, this was the adventure, and I have lived as that. So there is nothing more I can crave for. And this rasa, Kabirji also talks of rasa, the rasa of your own truth, own being. And he says that if I taste it once, I just want to have it more and more and more. This hidden honey of this lotus. I believe that it's a reference to the lotus of Sahasrar, which they say in mystic tradition, which connects us to directly to our limitlessness, our wideness, our expansion, which connects us to the formless. He has tasted that. Yeah.
And also with that line, Monica, that the lotus, right, it grows from the murky waters. Yeah. And so with again, just a little bit of that promise hidden in it, right? That despite that, one can, or not even in spite, because of it, perhaps, like that's where it grows, and still being able to touch that hidden honey and the joy of, if we link up the last song, right, about being with oneself, yeah. And then revealing that ananda and just the word honey, the sweetness of it all, right?
Yes, yes.
Of going through and staying by, and then expanding on the ocean of light, that the lotus grows from that other place, but the expansion is an ocean, like it's just unlimited. The
Yes.
possibility to keep growing, keep doing the yoga.
You know what, as you were sharing, Swapna, I just went through this line again. And here, you were referring to the murky waters. Huh? So he says, I have tasted of the honey, hidden honey of this lotus that expands on the ocean of light. Now, I am able to connect this with that he has, owing to the fact that he has seen in the deepest of the darkness only one divine being present. In the deepest and darkest of the challenges, he has seen that there is nothing but the divine hiding there. And hence, the murky waters are not murky anymore. They have transformed into ocean of light. So that the darkness which for the ego appears to be as darkness, as challenge, owing to the fact that I have dug out the divine even in that challenge, hence it is light for me. So the ocean of light, now the lotus is going from the ocean of light. And that really kind of hit me here when you were sharing that this reference to the lotus usually growing in muddy waters. So he has made use of the muddy waters and transformed them into light. And there, now from there, the lotus grows and he's able to taste the honey, the nectar.
Yes, yeah, I agree. Absolutely. And I like the word that expands, right? Because there isn't a definite end to that.
Yeah.
So that indication of if one sees life's dark times, or even just the times when it feels foggy, the final end does not come to a solution or a situation or a person or a relationship or whatever, a job, and then just knowing that, okay, there's a possibility of expanding and seeing everything as ocean of light, that allows one to cruise as opposed to feel like one's being bogged down or drowned, right?
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. So anything else, anyone? I think we can call it a day here, if not anything. Beautiful lines, I think this is the beauty of these words, in 4 lines, 5 lines, so much of intensity and density is packed. Yeah. All right. Okay, so in absence of anything more, let's call it a day here. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing your reflections. Thanks, everyone. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.